Okay, welcome back. So Samsung Unpacked was more than just the phones, of course. I actually low-key think that the things that weren't the phones were the most interesting announcements. So we got the two phones out the way. What we also had was the Samsung headphones, which were, I'll just say they were the new Samsung Buds Pro active noise cancellation, slightly new design, much better quality focus. I haven't gotten a chance to handle them or listen to them, so we just have to fully wait until we get to use them. But we also got two new watches, Watch 5 and Watch 5 Pro. Galaxy Watch 5, Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. This is interesting to me for a lot of reasons. You've been using one of the Galaxy watches, right?
Funny story. I have the Watch 4 right here, the regular Watch 4, not the Watch 4 Classic.
Mm-hmm.
I've been using it for like 4 or 5 months, and we were like, I wrote a script for a bitrate for the studio channel, and we were Yato and I were setting it up, and David like messaged me on Slack like, "Hey, we're in the briefing right now. They're announcing the Watch 5," and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I guess we won't do this. Yeah,
It's the life of a reviewer.
So we will be looking at that. I'm very excited though, because I've been using this watch a lot and I really, really like it. I have two main gripes with it. One is a terrible bug with it right now, where if it loses connection with your phone, you have to reset the entire watch and lose all of your data.
Oh my God.
To reset it back in, unless you did a backup. But I have it right now. I can show you on my phone if I go to...
If it loses connection, as if you like leave the house without your watch?
If it like somehow the Bluetooth connection has to be like reconnected, essentially.
Like
I don't like, I can go away from it and come back, but if it ever like blips in that, and this is something, there's a Reddit thread I found that's 9 months old, and people still to this week are commenting like, I just had this problem. How do I fix it?
That sounds
big problem.
more like a lack of a feature than a bug.
Yeah, so if I go into my Galaxy wearable right now,
looking for devices,
it doesn't show it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's in airplane mode. It still should show.
Is your Bluetooth on?
Yeah, it is.
You better go catch it.
Oh, this might not be on. Anyways, I'll try and reconnect it, and it'll just say, we found it. In order to add a new device, you need to reset the device from your watch. And then on your watch, it'll say, do you want to reset this?
That's really
and
bad.
It's awful.
Yeah.
But other than that, my biggest gripe is battery life. The battery life on this is terrible. I would say I'm okay with it because I don't use sleep tracking, so I can charge it every night, but it will not last 2 days. And I've seen that a lot of other people with that same issue.
That's what I was going to say. So how bad is terrible? Because I've been an Apple Watch person for the better part of like 4 or 5 years.
You'd call that a 2-day battery life, right?
I would call it a 1.5 day battery life.
Yeah.
Very specifically. Because I cannot get to the end of 2 days, but I can always get past 1 day.
Yes, this can get past 1 day. If you use sleep tracking, I would say by the time you wake up, you're under 40%. And like, I would not expect it to last more than that. Like this would never last a weekend as far as I use it.
So you'll be happy to know one of the new features of the Watch 5 is it has a larger battery, 15% larger battery, I believe. And the other gripe, the other way to get around bad battery life is faster charging. And this does have fast charging. Specifically, what do we have? 13% larger battery on the Watch 5. And the Watch 5 Pro we'll get to in a second, but
yes.
I think that should at least help with the battery life.
It should.
We'll see. We'll get it in hand.
I think if you're someone who does a lot of things during the day and also wants to sleep track, you're going to have to find that perfect time. Maybe the fast charging will help, so you could do it maybe while you're showering or something like that.
It really becomes a habit of like, when you end the day, you look at your percentage and you're like, this won't make it through the night or this will. With the Apple Watch, it's like 25%. I know if I go to bed anywhere around 30 that I just need to find time to charge before I put it back on.
I hate that.
Just
It drives me insane.
part of the downside. The design is very similar, but it does have sapphire glass now on the outside,
That's
which
good.
is much better.
I love this design. I think this design looks good. And the sapphire glass, which is stronger. I tested 3 watches. This is the only watch where the screen didn't crack or chip when I was rock climbing. My Apple Watch has a big chunk taken out of it. Yours does as well.
The screen?
It's not a chunk. It's more of like
yours is like a
scar.
crack. Tim's has like a chunk.
Like multiple
missing
scars.
out of
Actually,
it.
I do have a little chunk.
Yeah.
But that's the metal or the screen?
The screen.
His screen has like a bunch of
really?
scratches
on the top
down
and
here.
bottom. But rock climbing holds are so coarse that they will just destroy.
But if you look at mine, the outside edge of it got really scratched. But the glass
looks
didn't get touched
okay.
at all.
Maybe because it's flat.
Well, it's going to
Maybe-
get even stronger. So
I have a Garmin Venue 2, which I love, and it got really messed up climbing.
those
It
are the
has
ones I
like
expect to be super strong.
Yeah, I agree with you. One thing about these though is I debated using the Watch Classic because of the dial has a little more of a lip, but I didn't really love the spinny part in that. This Galaxy Watch 5 Pro has that new lip and doesn't have the thickness of.
Let's
some
talk
of
about the
other
Watch
things.
5 Pro.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the Pro.
I'm really excited for that.
So the 5 is great, but the Pro, well, first of all, I guess we could speak about this at any point, but there are lots of rumors that we might see an Apple Watch Pro.
Yeah.
And I think Samsung has a tendency to go, they're going to do what? Okay, trust me. We're on that. We'll beat them to that. Trust me.
We got it.
So we got the Watch 5 Pro. The Watch 5 Pro is a larger, thicker, stronger, more activity-focused version of the Watch 5. So it's, think like GPS-related stuff, much longer battery life. It's a 60% larger battery life.
Yes.
And it also has a thicker, I believe it's thicker. They say stronger sapphire glass on the outside. I don't know how you have different strength levels other than just making it thicker.
It's probably thicker.
So it's stronger, probably thicker sapphire glass on the outside, and it's also inlet or inset underneath the bezel. So you have a little bit of protection there for the glass.
Yeah.
It seems if you can deal with the larger size, it's a 45 millimeter size only,
Yes.
to be like the best version of what Samsung could make as far as a smartwatch that has a long battery life and actually deals with like heavy, long GPS loads. Maybe you're going to go, I heard there was actually a golf version of this watch, but if you're going to go like play golf with just your watch, there are GPS apps that will tell you for the entire 4-hour round of golf exactly how far you are from all of your targets and the bunkers and the hazards and everything. Biking, hiking, just going for a run, all that sort of stuff. This seems like the way to go for that stuff. So Watch 5 Pro is real.
Did we get it confirmed that the golf version is real?
It's in the notes that they sent us.
It
There's
is?
a golf
Yeah.
version. Yeah. It's all it is.
They never
They
told
didn't
me
bring it
about
up at the briefing,
Yeah.
and then
It's,
someone told me about it, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
I think that we don't have to put this part in, but I think it's $329. I think it's more like the regular one.
Wait, the 5 Pro golf version is
It's just the
$329?
5 golf version. I don't
Oh,
think it's the 5
5.
Pro.
Oh,
I think it's
okay.
the regular 5. All it is custom watch faces, a free lifetime subscription to Smart Caddy
Like a
app or
Caddy app.
something, and it has a different watch band, a 2-tone watch band.
okay.
So that's
not.
It's more like a what's the
They could've just like a
Ford
brand
edition thing?
partnership,
It's a
yeah.
brand
Oh.
exclusive.
Is it PGA branded?
No, I think it's
Just a
they're
Caddy.
probably just
LIV
partnered with
branded.
that app.
LIV.
No, that's a
LIV.
golf
Oh my
tour.
God.
No, you can't even use GPS
For the
stuff on
golf
tour.
fans here.
Yeah,
Well,
that was a good reference.
I
but
might
no,
have
no, it's just probably just the Caddy app. That's it.
it's basically
Fun.
the Caddy app for
Yeah.
an extra $30. It seems like, and limited watch faces with it
in a different band.
and a different band.
Okay. Well,
It's
guess-
more of a limited edition thing.
are you interested in that?
No, because I could just turn the Watch 5 into the Golf Edition.
Just buy the
anytime.
app with the Watch 5 Pro and then get way better battery life.
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
it. I'm really excited for the Watch 5 Pro because I love hiking and stuff like that. I like outdoor stuff. And when I was using my Garmin, like it's incredible for really long hikes and stuff. It's got great GPS. All the different apps for it are fantastic. But wearing it every day, it just felt clunky. And the Watch 4 is so much nicer. So to have in my mind, and we'll see how they execute it, but to have a Watch 4 that feels more like Garmin activity ruggedness with it, that's really, really exciting for me.
I think we talked about this in the foldable space earlier about things like finally coming to the point where they feel like very cohesive products. But I feel like we're in a little bit of a wearables renaissance or golden age right now when it comes to both smart watches and then also earbuds, because the earbuds have ANC. Now it seems like you can get a ton of different earbuds with ANC, and it just depends on what company you want. There's the Pixel Buds Pro, they have ANC now.
Yeah.
Just like pick your company. And then the other thing was when Apple announced all of the additions to the Apple Watch tracking, whether it was like tracking the little micro movements of your run and your stride height and all these things. And now there's possibly going to be a Pro Watch, and then there's going to be a Pro version of this. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it seems like this wearable tech is getting really good now.
I agree. It's kind of amazing looking back what all of them do. Like you mentioned, the watch tracks all these things. It has a slightly different shape with the bottom of the watch. It's a little bit flatter so that it has more contact area on your wrist, so that your blood oxygen levels and your all the things it's tracking can be even more accurate. It's like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's
half the
toned.
stuff I didn't ever think I'd need to know about myself, but
Yeah.
here we are. And also true, like back in the day, I remember in like 2013, 2015, the Jaybird earbuds that I love so much. Like to picture something that small having active noise cancellation, I was like, never.
No way.
Of course not.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, Pixel Buds Pro come out. It's like the exact same size, no wire, long battery life, popping in your ears, active noise cancellation, and transparency mode. It's not that good, but it's still got it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive. I have a question though.
Yes.
About the Watch 5 Pro. Do you think now, let's say it has a 1.5 times longer battery life. Is that enough for you to say it's not terrible?
Here's listen. So the Venue 2, it's like an 8-day battery life, and I tried that and it works. And I'm still kind of confused how that can have 8 days and this can have a day and a half.
Describe the functionality of that watch.
I mean, it still has notifications. It still has like my calendar comes into it. My text messages come into it. It tracks steps. It tracks heart rate, all that stuff. Like it's constantly tracking. But generally when I'm using it, it's on a long trip somewhere where it's also like I was hiking 8 hours a day and like I wasn't plugging it in at all. It was crazy.
8-day battery.
Clearly the screen is not as good, but
That's
still,
what-
like we're talking about Watch 4 is like 450 by 450. It's not anything wild, and it is getting a fifth or a sixth of the battery life.
So the screen and processor are always going to be the biggest draws of power. And I haven't used this 8-day watch battery life, but when I picture a 1.5 day battery life watch having a 60 FPS OLED display that gets bright outdoors and is like very responsive and feels like a tiny smartphone on your wrist, I picture an 8-day smartphone battery life being like on the Kindle end of the spectrum where you don't really spend any time interacting with it. It just shows you stuff and that's good enough. Is that accurate?
I don't think I use my watches, both of them, that much differently though. I don't know.
Then that's better for you.
Then it's better for me. But the thing is I still use the Watch 4 the same way and don't use it as much, and mostly use it to just check the time and some notifications. And it's still only getting a day and a half. Like
it's like not as efficient.
I don't know. I'm sure there's some things. I think what you're talking about, you mentioned it the other day when we were talking about it, is probably Android Wear OS versus whatever the Garmin stuff is. That's probably doing far, far less. But that's still a huge gap that baffles me a little bit.
Well, when you're based on Android though, it's like it's so complex.
Yeah.
Like here's an analogy, right? The entire reason that ARM devices have such like insane battery life comparatively is that you had x86 for this long period of time that had to do all of these functions. And the more that PCs could do over time, the more that architecture had to be able to be built out to handle. But that also made it have more processes going on at the same time, and it just made it such a battery hog. So ARM, which is Advanced RISC Machines, it's a reduced architecture, and RISC is reduced.
RISC is another acronym.
Yeah.
Inside of R.
Yes,
it's an acronym inside of an acronym.
So ARM is an acronym, and the R is RISC, and RISC is another acronym.
Yes,
RISC is Reduced Instruction Set Chip.
Right.
And CHIP is an acronym for what?
and that's a backronym.
Just give you a deeper.
So reduce the instruction set, right? So you reduce the instruction set to like only the core things that you have to do, and then they built out from there. So that's why ARM devices have so much better battery life. So it's kind of the same thing. If you build something on Android that's supposed to be on your watch, it's going to be like an Android phone, and all Android phones run ARM processors already. These are ARM processors just in watches. It's like you already have the most efficiency that you can kind of have. But when you build an OS that is only made to be like a very simple smartwatch, and you only target it to these specific things, then you can make the battery life way better.
It's Reduced Instruction Set Computer.
Oh, right. And what does computer stand for? Anyway, yeah.
Oh, it's RISC?
Yeah, RISC.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
got
computer.
it.
Which would still be the case with chip, but I got the C wrong. Right.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So
to go back to the question, for me to not consider it to be a bad battery life and like good, not great, 8 days is great.
Yeah.
That is what I would go for once you use that for a month,
you don't want to use
everything else feels terrible.
Right.
But if I could leave work on Friday and go out for the weekend, say like I'm going on a trip, and it's still alive on Sunday when I get back to charge it to go to bed, that would be
2 full
ideal.
days.
2 good full days, maybe even 2.5. I would call it 2.5 to where some days it might go a little under, but
Okay.
I would be very happy with
like leaving
2.5.
for a weekend and being able to maybe track a hike.
Forget
and
your
then-
charger and not have to
Yeah.
worry about it the whole weekend.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
That's ideal.
I'm gonna guess
Or acceptable.
that would be the absolute limit of this Watch 5 Pro.
60% 's
That's a
big.
guess. Yeah.
590 milliamp is that what it is?
Right. Yep.
590. That's pretty big. That's
It's big, but I'm just saying, like, okay, it's 60% bigger.
Yeah.
So, okay, 60% more battery versus the 1.5 we already get out of the Watch 4. Then you're looking at 1.9 days, maybe. So,
which is close to what you want.
close.
Yeah.
Quick math.
Yeah.
We'll
I always agree though, like all of these watches are adding sleep tracking and everyone keeps talking about how amazing sleep tracking is. But if I have to charge my watch every night, then I can't use the sleep tracking. And a lot of people say, oh, charge it while you're showering.
I just Googled it real quick. 1.6 times 1.5. Because you had 1.5 days, 60% more. So
Plus-
1.6 times. It's actually 2.4. So let's say
Plus
2.4 days.
It
How does that
seems
sound?
promising.
That sounds pretty good.
Seems promising.
Okay. All right. Promising.
2.4.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like one of my biggest gripes about it. The other one is that Challenges app. Let Android people count more than just steps. Count calories for Android watches or Google Fit or some connection in there.
Yeah.
And the Challenges app would be the best app ever. We would recommend it all the time to everybody. You will get free shout outs from us if you count calories for Android.
They're already
Big
getting a shout
promise.
out right now.
Waveform
I am,
shoutouts
right now.
aren't cheap.
They're not.
Yeah. So there you go.
Not sponsored.
Oh, wait. Can I say one more thing about the Galaxy Watch though? Since does this look familiar to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I have an argument here
The
though.
original
Okay, so
Google Fit thing.
no, this is
It's
Samsung's
just 3
rings,
rings.
Oh.
but it's in a heart instead. So it's pretty much like Apple rings. I think this is better than Apple rings.
Oh.
Why is
You
it
know
better?
why? Because the third ring is not stand hours, which is
Yeah.
the dumbest metric in the
70 hours
world.
is fair.
It just adds steps to it. It just shows you your steps along with it and gives it as a third.
So it's
tracking
it's
device.
activity ring as the first
It's
ring.
calories,
Calories.
time, exercise
time,
steps.
and then steps.
Oh, nice.
Because
I like that.
standing for 1 minute every hour
It's
is
dumb.
the dumbest metric
I agree.
ever, and
I agree.
no one cares.
But I think the reason they chose it is because
No one
if you are sedentary and you sit for long extended periods of time,
You're
that's
like
bad for you.
muscles.
I want to ask David a question here. I just saw your app say you wanted to stand up. Did you want to stand up and walk around, or did you want to stand up and get the notification away and sit your ass back?
But that's the point, though. It's gamifying it. It's
Yeah, but-
gamifying it.
But it's not
I don't
accomplishing
know.
anything.
Sometimes I'm working in a cafe.
I think it does. I think just not being seated. What is the whole argument for like standing desks? It's like you spend so much time sitting, and if you sit all day, isn't
I think
like
that's
sitting down is
interesting.
bad for you or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. I think that if you don't stand up and move around a little bit, then you need to get the blood like flowing around all
Yeah,
over your
Standing-
muscles
stand
and
up once in a
everything.
while.
Yeah.
Standing for 1 minute doesn't accomplish that.
But it's better than standing for
It's-
0 minutes.
Sure.
So
I am not advocating for either. Just I just
Wow,
want you
Mr.
guys to be aware.
Politics
I'm
over
not
here.
going to get involved, but I do think that it's sort of like when you're like, oh, I'm going to do 5 push-ups. That's it, and then you end up doing 50. Well, I could obviously do that.
I don't know where we're going anymore.
I guess the point is like
the point is that it's getting you moving, and then
Yes,
you will probably
fair.
do more than 1 minute if you do the 1 minute.
yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
maybe.
Whereas I just wave my arm around.
What
until
if
it goes over.
what if it did you had to do 100 steps every hour?
That'd be kind of hard.
That would be really hard. So the thing is, when you get
don't
to
think
like
that's-
50 minutes on the hour, the watch tells you got to stand up.
Well, it would
just
give
'cause
you
got
a
10 minutes
better time.
That would be nice. I don't know how many steps 100 steps
Yeah, I
is.
don't
Is that like
either,
walking around the room
100.
once?
I bet
How
from
many
your
steps
desk
is
I bet
walking
from
around the
your
room?
desk to the bathroom back to your desk would be about 100 steps.
100? Actually, maybe it is 100. Now that
That's
I
a
think about
long
it.
way.
Like,
I would wait
I'm
there and
thinking-
back.
Going up the steps in my house, it's like 12 steps or whatever. Now I'm like, oh yeah, so maybe it's 10 times that amount of distance. Maybe that's 100 steps.
I would say going from your desk to the bathroom and back would be 100 steps.
I'm gonna try it after this podcast, but we do need to take a break. So let's
do trivia.
Yeah, let's do trivia real quick and then come back.
Pricing for everything really quick
All
since
right.
we didn't say any
yeah,
of that.
Good. It starts at $279 for the Bluetooth only Watch 5 and $329 for the LTE Watch 5, and the Watch 5 Pro only comes in 45 millimeters, so it's a little bigger, but that starts at, remind me, 350?
449.
450.
Pretty expensive.
450 for
450.
Bluetooth. Okay.
450.
And
So that's the
$499
prices.
for LTE.
$499 for LTE Watch 5 Pro. There you go.
Damn. Thanks for watching this absolutely stacked, packed clip on the Waveform Podcast, Packed Cast podcast. We have a lot more for you in the future, but until then, stay packed in your room watching Waveform every single week because it's going to be packed with great content every single week. And that's why we're the Waveform Packed Cast.
You have to like for every packed he just said.
Was that? I don't. It was
The only
awesome.
thing was that you didn't mention Samsung Unpacked at all.
Did I really not?
No, he didn't say it once.
And that's totally fine.
I was like, all right, still going.